Hey, it's me, Shane, Gemini Garage, and got an antenna video, another antenna video for you today. This is kind of an interesting little antenna here. It's listed as a QRP antenna, but could also be, you know, an indoor monitor antenna, or just, you know, whatever you need, as long as you don't have to exceed 20 watts, have less than a 1.5 SWR, and can deal with the rest of it, then pretty cool little deal here. It's a ZFGL is the brand name that's on here. 20 watts, 1.5 SWR, and then it lists the frequency ranges and stuff on there. I'll get into that a little bit later. It pretty much just comes 3 pieces like this. The telescoping whip, this piece here, and then you get a 90-degree adapter with it. So if we get lucky, I'll be able to do an on-air transmit and receive test with it. About 40 bucks. The price may vary, you know, how that kind of stuff works. This stuff nowadays, I mean, one day it's $45, and then the next day they're all $5 or $10 higher, because they're all kind of, seems like everything these days is kind of locked into a pricing system where when one of them goes up, they all go up. So anyways, around 40-50 bucks. I can tell you right away, I think it's worth it. Any antenna that works reasonably well, or how it's advertised, is worth it. This one also is made out of metal, and it comes apart, so if you have any issues with it, it is something that you can take apart and repair or tinker with it. And I know a lot of people are going to say, well, you know, you could make something just as good or better by yourself, but do you? And we're back to that again. I'm always saying that sometimes it's better to just buy something and tinker with it, and you know, have it when you need it, than have grand plans of making something but never actually doing it, and then not having it around when you need it. So we're all kind of guilty of that, especially a lot of guys are like, oh, I'm not going to buy one of those, I could make one of those. And you probably could, and you could probably make a better one, but it just seems like sometimes you don't ever get around to doing it. So in cases like that, it's just better off to just go ahead and buy it, especially if it's not a huge investment, and it's something that works halfway decent. If you've got a lot of radios laying around and you need a monitor antenna for indoors, great. Again, this is multi-band, HF, VHF, so you know, pretty cool little deal here. So I will be checking it out on the MFJ antenna analyzer here. Also going to throw it on the X6200 here, because this thing has a really cool SWR antenna plotter analyzer on it. So we'll see what it does on there, and maybe I'll get lucky and get to do an on-air transmit and receive test with it. So with that, let's get with it. Stick with me. And for what it's worth, this is the box that it came in. No labeling on it. No instructions. It came in this bubble wrap here. And then the telescoping antenna mast here came in this tube here. So that was pretty much it. The packaging, I'm just going to take this thing and put it together real quick here. Put it on top of this analyzer here and see what we got. And again, this is a 90-degree adapter that comes with it. So there we go. I'm going to stretch this thing out, and we'll go outside and see what we got. And just a shot of it on the ground, fully extended there. Okay, we're going to turn this thing on. And this thing is really hard to read in the sunlight. We're going to turn it to so we're on 28. Let's see here. We're about 28,440 here. And we got a 1.8 SWR. And if we turn this knob on the top here, That goes to 2.3 SWR. And we turn it the other way, it goes to 3.6. So right there is obviously the happy sweet spot at 1.8. And then we're going to take our smaller knob here and we're going to tune that in a little bit. 1.5 and 1.5. And that's kind of how that works. And you're never going to get it down below 1.5, but that's, you know, that's the design of the antenna and the nature of the beast, but that's okay. When you're running low watts and doing an antenna like this, it really isn't a big deal. If you look at what an SWR meter says on it for the red zone, and if you look back at what old CB radios recommended SWR was, you'll realize that 1.5, 1.7, sometimes even 2, is tolerable. And I can guarantee you there's many a guy that went camping that grabbed a CB radio, threw a magnet mount on his pickup truck, and was probably rocking a 2.5, 2.7 SWR. But because he didn't run a power on it, and because he wasn't talking on it all day long, it lasted. So let's try another band here. Let's try 10 meters, or 10 megahertz. Excuse me. Showing a 7.7 SWR there. Don't want that, so let's see. 2.4, 1.7, 3.2. So we turned our big dial there until we got it down, and now we're going to turn our little one here. And about 1.7 is about the best we're going to do there. But again, that's okay, because you're talking 20 watts, you're talking, either an antenna you might not even be talking on, but even if you are, low power, not a big deal. And again, that's from 28 megahertz to 10 megahertz, so on the same antenna. So Okay, so here it is, not extended, just kind of on the end of the 6200 here, oh so delicately, kind of walkie-talkie style here. I have noticed for some reason, having the antenna fully extended or completely pushed in, it doesn't really seem to make much of a difference, and I'm guessing because the antenna is probably a very small part of the actual tuning in here, so whether it's actually extended or compressed, it's only going to make probably a bit of a difference if you're, it's only going to probably make a difference on the other end or your end if you're transmitting and receiving, and probably not so much as far as the SWR itself goes, I guess is what I'm trying to say with that. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to show you just kind of the way this is, sort of how this works and the effect that it has here. So okay, so we can see the radio here, and we're going to go to our SWR scan, and we're going to hit start, and that will just keep running through. Right now it's at about a 1. It's just the bottom of it's like, 1 flat or whatever, so it's just barely up above that. But you'll notice if I start monkeying around with this here, whoa, there, that rate, oh yeah, see. So this is your fine tuner here, and then the same thing will kind of happen if I switch this kind of I guess you'd call this the general band, or the general, the main band switch here. If you switch that around, well, that one's a little bit lower there, so. But anyways, that's basically how you do it. You hook this thing up, and then you find your sweet spot with this big dial here, and then after you've found the lowest you can get with this dial here, and you just kind of tune it in with this one here. And let's try a different band here. Okay, let's exit out of here. Let's go to my memory, and we'll go, okay, there's 14190. Let's go to our SWR scan. And we're going to hit, because like I said, I don't know what these numbers correspond to. They don't seem to really correspond to bands, you know, to frequencies or bands as far as the numbering. So I just kind of turn it until it hits the sweet spot. And that ain't it. And that must be it right there. Because that one it's high, that one it's almost flat, and that one it's rippling a little bit there. Yeah, it seems to like it right there. So anyways, really cool feature on this radio. I mean, you've kind of got an antenna analyzer built into it, really. So once again, it doesn't really seem to make a difference whether it's extended or not, and I have my theories on that. It's just they don't have a whole lot weighing on the length of this antenna, and there's enough stuff going on inside of here. They can just kind of you can just kind of tune that out, tune it into where even with this on there, it's somehow resonant, or at least resonant enough. Once again, there's probably massive dummy loadness of some kind going on in here, and then, you know, you're not going to be running a lot of power through it, but it works. Like I said, if you've got a lot of radios laying around, a great receive antenna for multiple radios, because you can change, you know, the bands if you want to use it for CB, if you want to use it for ham, if you want to use it for whatever. So that's kind of how this thing works. It works pretty damn good, you know, as far as that goes. Yeah, it's a little hokey, but again, I'm going to give it a pass on the hokiness, because it does work. It does what it says it's supposed to do, and it's made and designed in a way that if you have a problem with it, you can take it apart, which I'm going to do that next and check it out. But it's made and designed in a way that if you have a problem with it or you need to repair it, you can take it apart, because it's all metal pretty much, you know. And I've noticed turning these, when I'm trying to tighten this thing here, this thing wants to spin a little bit here sometimes, and same with this up here. So I'm going to go ahead and take it apart and get a good look at what's going on inside of there and see if I can tighten these up a little bit. Again, I'm more than willing to deal with the hokiness of something like that if you can tinker with it a little bit and make it right, and for the money, and you know, great QRP antenna, and probably an even better monitor antenna as well. So let me get to taking this, let me resituate the camera here. We'll take this thing apart, and then hopefully a little later on this evening, maybe we can get a transmit and receive test on this thing here. Again, I'm not going to go through all the bands, this thing. You kind of get the general idea. I'm going to try one more here. And 7.215. Let's go to our SWR scan. All right, and oop, that wasn't the right way to go. Turn it down there. Oh, there we go. That seems to be the one right there, and we'll see if we can fine tune that in, and it seems to like it right there. So there you go. Okay, let's take this thing apart and see what we got inside here. Take my BNC adapter off of here. Okay, we'll go ahead and unscrew our telescoping mast off of here. You can also see there's like another little thing here for like a ground wire, if you wanted to put an extra little ground wire lug on here. This part screws off just like that. It sits like that. Alright, and we got 4 screws in each end here, so let's see what we got. Okay, so we've got these 2 knobs here. This whole thing, probably, you're going to have to take this thing off of here on the bottom. These 2 knobs are going to come off. You've got a couple of nuts for the potentiometers there. I'm not sure. This whole back half might come off if I take this lower half off. So let's just go ahead and take this lower half off and see what happens. Yep. Okay, so once you take the screws out of each end, this half will come off here. So this is what we got inside of there. Oh, look at that. Look at that. We've got our, what is that, a ferrite, or I'm trying to remember what they call those damn things. It'll come to me when I set it down. But yeah, you've got this more like a little potentiometer type of a thing here, and then you've got your other potentiometer, but it's got running through this thing here. So pretty interesting. So let's have a better look here. Yeah, you can see this here. There's a nut right here to kind of tighten this here. And it's the same thing. There's a screw in this here. And this kind of screws onto there. So I think if you just tighten those things up, maybe even put a little bit of red Loctite or something on there to help keep that from loosening. Probably a good idea. But anyways, that's what you got going on inside of there. Okay, I also noticed while I had this apart, you really only need to take the back side off here. If you just loosen the 2 screws on that end and 2 on that end for the back side, take that off. You don't have to take the front off and loosen both the plates. Just kind of leave them on there like that. That way you can kind of maybe put some small little wrench on that and tighten that up a little bit. And this stuff, the way it's designed, it can move a little bit. You just don't want to spin it too much. So, like I said, a little on the chintzy side, but I mean, not too bad. Like I said, at least you can get in there and fiddle around with it if you need to. Really not going to complain about it for the money. So, anyways, tighten that up a little bit and checked everything else out. And like everything else, yeah, you want to leave these screws, leave everything loose until you get everything in and almost seated before you snug it down. But there you go. Like I said, just put that thing back on there like that. Put our terminal back on here. And our antenna. And there you go. Both of these switches have little set screws in them, by the way. So if you were going to take these off, you'd take the set screws out of the switches and then undo the nuts underneath there and then pull them out that way. So anyways, there you go. So hopefully now we can get a little bit of an audio receive and a transmit test out of it. Let's see. Hopefully. And back together again. Right there. That's where it likes it. $27.165. There you go. Pretty cool. Okay, and you can see right now how I kind of got it set up as basically a monitor antenna. It works great for that. It's got, you can change the bands on it, so you can hook it up pretty much to any radio, and it'll be close enough as a monitor antenna. It's kind of nice to have an antenna on the back of something if you're testing it. You can hear your voice in here without an antenna, but it just doesn't sound usually as good, even if your radio's right next to it. So +1 for that. You are going to hear better, of course, if you have the whip extended, but for just, like I said, in the Radio Shack in your shop, experimenting or a monitor antenna, it works pretty good.
1 2, check, audio 1 2.
So there you go. Like I said, you can get cheap little antennas, to put on the back of the radios, but even those can cost a couple bucks. So, like I said, pretty cool. We got this thing on the President Randy here. So we're going to go outside and just do a real quick transmit test with it.
1 2, check, audio with the antenna down. 1 2 1 2. And 1 2, check audio 1 2 with the antenna extended. 1 2 1 2.
Okay, well there you have it. I think it does what it's supposed to do. It works great as a monitor antenna, obviously, and it seems to transmit pretty well too. So no complaints about it for what it is. Like I said, low power antenna, and treat it right and be patient with it. And I think it's pretty cool little deal there. So if I can get some audio footage or anything with any locals or anything, I will put that in there. That's kind of hard to do sometimes, especially with something like this, because even the Randy at best is getting kind of hard to get to my locals because they're about 10 miles away, and unless this is hooked up to my base antenna, that's kind of stretching it. Can talk on my base antenna, I can get out with this, but these smaller antennas, not quite. So anyways, yeah. Alright, well there you go. Like I said, I wished I could have put a little bit more video in there of maybe being able to chit-chat with some locals, but just kind of wasn't happening tonight, and you don't really need that anyways. Like I said, this is either going to be a monitoring antenna or a low-power antenna for transmitting, and it obviously does both of those just fine, even with my little bit of testing here. So good to go, I think. Like I said, if you want something really high dollar and you don't really like to tinker, and you just, maybe not for you, but if you've got a lot of radios, a lot of antennas, if you like to tinker, if you like to build stuff, or like I said, if you just have a lot of radios and stuff laying around and you need a monitor antenna that you can change the bands and stuff on, pretty cool deal. So like I said, it does what it's supposed to do, and it does pretty good. And as I said before, being able to take it apart and the way that it's made, so if you need to modify it or repair it, pretty cool too. So can't really ask much more than that. So with that, hope that inspires you to pick one of these up, or take one of your existing antennas out of the mothballs and do something with it. And if you think about it, click the like and subscribe, and till the next video. Shane, Gemini Garage.